Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the month of April. Namaste, precious, precious souls. Welcome to Book of Life. We have the fourth degree lesson 10 tonight, the thinning veil. I love these with Burton Bigelow. These are great. We're gonna have some fun. They're very informative. All right, so check the waiting room. Okay. So before we get started, let us invoke. So we all get connected. Go ahead and just place the tip of the tongue on the palate. Just relax. In a nice receptive pose to the Supreme Being, the source and fountain of all life, Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother, to the great architect of the universe, to our spiritual teachers, to Holy Master Choa, to Buddha Padmasambhava, to the Circle of Seven, Robert and Earlyne Chaney, Burton Bigelow, Master Astalea, Lord Kuthumi, Lord Rama, Lord Zoser, to the Astarian hierarchy, to the Lord Yehoshua Bar Miriam, the Lord Christ, Holy Mother Mary, Lord Kuan Yin Buddha, Lord Gautama Buddha, all the great ones, our celestial guides, our angel guides, our higher souls, to the planetary Logos, Sanat Kumara, the Ancient of Days, solar Logos, Lord Amen Ra, the universal Logos, the central spiritual Sun, the one about whom not may be said. We humbly invoke for your divine blessings. May we be a channel through which thy holy ones approach the world. May we be a center for the radiation of thy power. Teach us to travel light that we may better gain the heights, break the bonds that bind. Teach us to give ourselves entirely to thy service, to attune ourselves to thy will, and teach us to lay down the small personal life for the greater cosmic life and to love with the love of God in full faith. Om Tat Sat Om. All right. So nobody's in the waiting room and we're ready to go. Okay, the thinning veil, fourth degree, lesson 10, the pattern world. Question. Burton, you once told us that a pattern of every one of Earth's inventions existed on the inner planes long before such an invention ever appeared on Earth. Can you explain what you meant? Burton, on the mental plane of Etheria is an area called the pattern world. It is here that creators from inner planes, engineers, scientists, artists, inventors, often file samples of their products. In this pattern world are the designs, inventions, and ideas which will appear on Earth in the future. A great scientist on the inner plane may invent a spaceship, a computer, a laser beam, medical apparatus. This scientist places a completed pattern of the device in the pattern world. Often it remains there until he or she reincarnates. This scientist may incarnate for the sole purpose of recreating these ideas on Earth. He or she then discovers how to produce this creation in steel and concrete and make it a practical part of Earth life. Often, too, geniuses of the higher worlds, realizing that Earth is ready for their inventions before time for them to incarnate, impress the pattern idea upon the consciousness of a person on Earth. Humans are on the brink of great discoveries, and this receiving person has adjusted his or her consciousness for receiving them. The perception has become so acclimated to new age potentials that scarcely anything seems incredible anymore. But most inventions have long lain in the pattern world to be brought to earth one by one. And even though some of these inventions seemingly lead humankind toward further destruction, nevertheless, the pathway is ever upward, bringing heaven and earth closer together. Pets. Do our pets have souls? Question. All of us want to know what happens to our beloved pets, Burton. Do we find them waiting there? Burton. Whether there is human love in the life of animals answers the question whether or not they have an extended existence with human souls in the afterlife. Certainly, dogs, cats, horses, and some monkeys possess a nucleus of mind force, which forms what could be termed an early soul force. According to the love such a pet has known on earth and the love with which that animal has responded, so will be this pet's existence in the afterworld. And does their life continue? Remember, however, that the soul essence of a dog, let us say, or a horse or a cat, is on its way toward life in the human kingdom. Such pets, therefore, although they dwell contentedly in the spheres of the afterlife for long periods, after much involvement must sooner or later depart their soul group to return to earth to enter a form as a human being. That is, the atomic essence of the form incarnates as a human form. But the soul essence descends as a new soul from the monadic plane. This is this soul's first incarnation in the human kingdom. Only through incarnation can these pets evolve their true destiny. Nor would those who love them deny them such an evolution. They endure in higher planes so long as love will render them conscious. But sooner or later, even the love of a master or mistress will send the beloved little creature back to earth to pursue its proper destiny. The soul force of the animal must merge with the monadic force to come forth as a human being. Often, master or mistress will become a guardian angel from the birth of the beloved pet into their first form as a human soul. And this angel will follow the destiny of that being through many incarnations, guiding this being through the evolutionary pathway as a human being. You must remember that such pets are not aware of good or evil as we understand it. Such an awareness must be evolved. That is the purpose of their return to Earth. They must gradually evolve from the simple to the complex, from the animal to the human mentality. But beloved animals certainly do possess souls created by the love they have experienced. This individual essence, uniting with monadic essence, which we shall go not now into, eventually enters upon the line of evolution as a human. Earth contact. We made the inquiry. It is often commented here that contacting those on the other side holds them back from progress. What can you tell us about this? It is false. Helping you adds to the powers of my mind and emotions. It is impossible for those on earth to compel us to return. Thus, it is a matter of choice. Since we do it of our own free will, it can only result in only happiness and progress for us unless some people, through foolish enthusiasm, attempt to absorb our help in trivial matters that they should be undertaking. This does not happen as a rule. And when it does, usually wiser teachers attempt to stem the habit and guide the person back to their own resources and soul development. My contact with you through the years has mostly been through intuitive help and not words, as you know. Thus, it is that we both gain in mental and heart-centered powers, I in my ability to send and you in your ability to receive. You would be denied such development were I always there to tell you, word by word, actions to follow and plans to carry out. As it is, we both unfold greater powers, and he described what he called telescopic vision. Telescopic vision. Some of us possess what I call telescopic vision. We use it to discover what is happening at a distance. It is not a common talent and must be cultivated by us as people on earth must cultivate clairvoyance. If we wish to know what is taking place several hundred miles away, we are able to focus with this special vision. We are also able to employ clairaudience along similar lines. Such visual and hearing perceptions are received through sense impressions only, though they actually seem to be seen and heard. When I am near you and look upon you, I see your psychic body from which emanates an ethereal light.
It is this light which illumines the surrounding vicinity, enabling me to see the contents of a room or the book you are reading, or to observe what you are doing. When people have darkness within themselves, it is most difficult for Etherians to contact them and be of help. That is why those who walk in darkness on earth find themselves out of tune with spiritual guidance. They themselves make it very difficult for guides to serve them well. Travel. We once casually mentioned that we hope to travel before departing for the higher planes. Burton answered, "Do not make it a matter of major concern. Whether you do or not while on Earth, you certainly can take full advantage of such traveling once you are over here. Over here, when you wish to travel, we three will do so leisurely and with great joy. We will visit all the marvelous places you have so wanted to see on Earth. We will visit them not only to observe them in the present day, but we will also be able to behold what happened there in ages long past. So do not fret over your traveling children." Memories of Earth. We inquired if he were able to remember things concerning his earth life as well as things and teachings over there. Burton answered, "The brain is only able to accommodate so much mind force at any one time. That is, through one's conscious knowing. Conscious mind is that which operates in the brain at any particular moment. As soon as any particular thought is finished, it passes into what we would call the storehouse of the subconscious. Over here, I possess the ordinary memory of physical things I had on Earth, but Earth memory is also merged in the subliminal memory of that which happens to me over here. When you pass over, your complete memory operates consciously. It is possible to grasp facts and memory at any time, but you may find it tedious to do so in the midst of all your new activities. Having to recall trivial incidents of Earth is like leaving the mountain summit to enter a cave, peering into the crevices of darkness. True, you can remember what is found there so far as memory ability is concerned, but it seems of little practical value most of the time. Accompanying us on our journeys. We asked if he journeyed with us occasionally when we took a trip by car, and if so, how was it accomplished? Burton replied, "Why, I simply enter the car with you and begin the journey. But if I concentrate my attention upon something beside the road that I wish to observe, I may find myself left behind, since thought has the power of locomotion. In which case, when I am ready to rejoin you, I simply concentrate upon you again and find myself with you. It is not nearly as strange as it sounds. It becomes a natural process. It simply simmers down to this: there must be no wandering of thought if a particular mission is at hand." Contacting us. We inquired how Burton actually kept in touch with our activities, whether or not he actually came in person to be with us. He replied that he often came actually to be near, and at other times remained on his own plane but came en rapport with us mentally. He explained that when he came mentally in touch with us, he usually contacted our superconscious thoughts, whereas when he was present, our conscious thoughts would be more easily received. After several years, it becomes more a matter of reading the mind from a distance without him needing to come constantly in person. Clothing. We asked Burton to again explain clothing to us. Do garments simply appear as etheric replicas of those worn on Earth, or do Etherians create altogether new? And Burton explained that, in part, both methods are employed. He said, if you enjoyed a particular type of garment worn on Earth, you are apt to mentally establish the pattern for a duplicate here. Once you grow accustomed to the type of garments worn here, you usually wish to duplicate them for yourself. Eventually, you may completely cease wearing the type you wore on Earth. We can make clothes by hand if we choose and not use the process of thought. We can change our clothing by thought if we prefer, but many prefer to do things by hand, just as we did on Earth. We may choose in the matter. many of us like to follow what we call the natural way instead of the mental way in performing many activities here. However, let us say that you are a very fine teacher. You may find creating a garment for yourself too tedious, and even though the process may be rapid, you prefer to leave it to others. In other words, it is senseless to require a teacher to build a home or to create garments or grow a garden. That soul's mind is trained in other occupations, the same as on earth. Well, how do earth standards of progress differ over there? Many persons are very happy fashioning clothing, but would be miserable if placed in other occupations. But training and cleverness, acumen and intellect are not the gauge here for progression. There are many clever and highly trained people on lower spheres. Progress is entirely a question of soul light, of goodness, of spiritual development. Thus, some on the higher planes may seem reticent when it comes to performing some tasks of responsibility. Nevertheless, their souls are pure and good. These souls find their greatest happiness is weaving a tapestry, maintaining a garden, keeping a home of a busy teacher well organized, creating garments, and being altogether helpful so that the teacher is released to duties more in harmony with that soul's personality and interests. Such souls might be unprepared to help newcomers, for instance. Discipline and knowledge. Not all newcomers immediately attain to a high degree of self-awareness. We are all learning to work with our emotions, to identify them, validate them, and express them in positive and growth-producing ways. While we have by no means perfected this skill, the practice of it leads to our soul growth. Nor are we the victims of imagined insults, resentment at fancied slights, and misunderstood statements. We enjoy clearer perception. That is not of all who arrive here. Since the plane I am now on had to be gradually attained, one has to learn, whether on earth or in Etheria. And learning here as there is inevitably a gradual process. I by no means know all things. It is not that any knowledge is denied me. It is simply that I am not yet ready to know. When I am, I shall attain a gradual understanding. I am unable to explain many things to you, for I do not understand them myself. I know and understand considerably more than you, but I do not know all that is known in realms above me. No one has it locked away from me. It is simply that I am not yet sufficiently developed to understand it. I am constantly learning many things since I study persistently, and our type of study includes far more than reading. We actually see what it is we are studying, like reading a miniature Akashic record to observe the history of an event. It is much like watching television on Earth, except that here one is observing the scenes as they actually happened. Where is heaven? We asked Burton, acknowledging that each of us will one day be dwelling in the higher planes. Exactly where will we be existing as conscious entities? Will we abide in a definite area in the neighborhood of our deceased loved ones and associates? Burton replied, it is all well and good to say that heaven is a state of consciousness or a condition, but you either go to a definite place or you do not. What you are asking is, where do you actually geographically journey to in respect to your earth world? The moment the earth body is dropped, the pilgrim becomes aware that he or she is in a different location. That is, a consciousness differing from that which had been previously experienced. You immediately become aware that thought possesses operate far more effectively than those to which you have been accustomed. Thus, you will immediately conceive that you can still be in the world, but not of the world. You eventually come to realize that all is a matter of ether and vibration, and that you are dealing with a great and profound abstraction. To the person on earth, ether is that vaporous substance which fills the space between the suns and the planets. It is invisible and intangible. The pilgrim, under the tutelage from higher teachers, comes to realize that ether is the basic essence of all creation, the cosmic substance of which all worlds are created. For you will be you forever. You can grasp that form can come out of form, since you have beheld birth after birth after birth. Now you must perceive substance being born out of substance, each substance becoming more subtle than the preceding. Nor is it all involved in protons and electrons and neutrons and photons. There is a cosmic history of thought evolution to be considered. Earth scientists have never understood the equations of thought. The point is that a spirit perceives the atomic coagulations of ether at whatever rate is sympathetic with that spirit. The human spirit the human being is a spirit encased in a body. Thus, you perceive atomic coagulations consonant with your earth vibration. To you, the earth world is the reality. The spirit on the astral perceives at whatever rate is consonant with that spirit. This is reality. Both are speaking truthfully. Our matter is an offspring of time and space, in that it is the union of thought forms with electrical discharges. What is the origin of ether? Ether is created by the world continually renewing itself out of reservoirs of spirit substance, manufacturing itself out of itself through a mystery known as procreation. Just as physical bodies create bodies of their young out of the resources of their parents, spirit does the same, thus creating ether. When substance is combined with thought formation, there is born a particle called the etheric unit. As we all know, there is no limitation to thought. Thought can project into the vast reaches of outer space in a fraction of a second. Thought darts hither and yon, automatically responding to environment and circumstance. Thought force travels instantly across trillions of miles of space. A thought projecting from one mind can connect with another mind, either in the next room or upon some distant planet. Let us say that physical matter assumes forms perceptible to your earthly senses. Then there is a higher matter, attenuated so that it is perceptible to higher senses. Beyond that is a more etheric matter perceptible to even higher senses ad infinitum. Matter, of all these ethers, may exist in any given space. Thus, forms created out of any of these existing substances or ethers exist in different worlds without moving away from the vicinity of the room. Each form is existing at its own level of reality. Thus, a spirit need not go anywhere to actually be in heaven. You simply ascend in spiritual perception. A spirit inhabiting any of these forms, superior to the earth form, can pass through the walls of a room on earth. But let a wall be erected on that spirit's same level of vibration, and he or she can no more pass through that wall than you can pass through yours. Thus, can highest homes of heaven, created of heavenly substance, dwell here in your midst. Spirits dwelling in that vibration would therefore encounter as obstructions objects created of the substance of their plane. Therefore, the earth plane, the astral plane, and the heaven plane all can exist in the same geographical location of your material buildings, but the higher forms and buildings are of finer concept. A human being lives on a rate of physical vibrations responding to the material world. All else is normally unobservable. An emotional plane or a plane of thought can also exist in the same geographical location, except that one is living in a state where emotion or thoughts dominate and correspond to the etheric level. The world of astral molecular substance will seem solid to the astral form, and the celestial molecular substance will seem solid to the higher celestial form. Each dwells in their own reality. but all three worlds may interpenetrate or exist in the same dimensions and in the same geographical location. Thus, heaven can be right here in your midst, yet imperceptible to you through your physical senses. Many of those that are now in heaven could be living in a world of reality existing within the atomic spaces of your earthly location. Heaven can also be miles in outer space, for Etherians can live and create a world where there is any kind of material or substance. Millions of discarnate beings prefer to build their heaven in the earth vicinity because of the affinity they have for the people they love still on earth. They choose to remain close to you. It is not that they remain forever on your vibratory level, entering your homes, observing all your actions. Rather, they have created their heaven world geographically near and can lower their own vibrations to be close at hand, to guide and guard you, should you have need of them, just as a devoted spouse may choose to live near the prison walls which confine a loved one. The spouse wishes to be as close as possible physically, mentally, and emotionally to the person who must remain in a certain geographic place. Heaven. We asked Burton, when Jesus taught that it is more blessed to give than to receive, what was the esoteric significance of that remark? He taught of heaven's rewards, replied Burton, and he continued, it is a mistake to teach that heaven is a place of unalloyed bliss for everyone. No soul can reap more happiness than that which he or she has sowed on earth. The measurement of joy may be limited to the joy we gave to others. The same is true of any state in purgatory. We do not suffer there any more than we cause suffering on earth. Just as purgatory is the plane of purging and purifying, or of discharging our debt of suffering, so is heaven the place where we finally receive the rewards for our goodness. Although there can be no suffering in heaven, our joy may be limited to the degree we brought joy to others. We may be able to receive beauty only to the degree that we built that which was beautiful. It is here that we will learn the true meaning of the spiritual teachings stated by the Christ in this way. It is more blessed to give than to receive, for it is in heaven that our giving may be rewarded tenfold. No writings of earth could more correctly express this spiritual lesson than as presented in the poem The Vision of Sir Launfal by James Russell Lowell. Here are excerpts highlighting the spiritual lessons conveyed in the timeless classic to which Burton refers. The purpose of knighthood being to seek the Holy Grail, Sir Launfal sets forth on this mission, clad in shining armor, astride a magnificent steed. On his shield shines the symbol of the cross, but Sir Launfal, disdainful of its message of humility, is filled with a haughty pride. He is contemptuous of the poor and needy he meets along the way, distributing very meager portions of his alms among them. He tosses a coin to a leper one day, but the leper raised not the gold from the dust. Better to me the poor man's crust, better the blessing of the poor, though I turn me empty from this door. That is no true alms which the hand can hold. He gives nothing but worthless gold. Who gives from a sense of duty, but he who gives but a slender mite, and gives to that which is out of sight, that thread of the all-sustaining beauty, which runs through all and doth all unite. The hand cannot clasp the whole of its alms. The heart outstretches its eager palms, for a God goes with it and makes its store to the soul that was starving in darkness before. Sir Launfal continues his mission throughout the years of his life, changing from the prideful, contemptuous warrior to a humble seeker of light. When he returns to his castle, he finds that another has taken possession of it and is driven away from his estate. An old man, bent, worn out, and frail, he came back from seeking the Holy Grail. Little he recked of his earldom's loss, no more of his surcoat was blazoned the cross, but deep in his soul the sign he wore, the badge of the suffering and the poor. He meets the same leper who previously had scorned his alms. His greeting to the leper this time was different. And Sir Launfal said, I behold in thee an image of him who died on the tree. Thou also hast had thy crown of thorns. Thou also hast had the world's buffets and scorns, and to thy life were not denied the wounds in the hands and feet and side. Mild Mary's Son, acknowledge me. Behold, through him I give to thee. The leper recognized Sir Launfal and remembered his previous contact, but the leper also witnessed the change that had come to pass. The heart within him was ashes and dust. He parted in twain his single crust. He broke the ice of the streamlet's brink and gave the leper to eat and drink. Immediately a transformation occurred. The leper no longer crouched at his side, but stood before him glorified. And the voice that was calmer than silence said, Lo, it is I, be not afraid. In many climes, without avail, thou hast spent thy life for the Holy Grail. Behold, it is here, this cup which thou didst fill at the streamlet for me but now. This crust is my body broken for thee, this water his blood that died on the tree. The Holy Supper is kept indeed in whatso we share with another's need. Not what we give, but what we share. For the gift without the giver is bare. Who gives himself with his alms feeds three, himself, his hungering neighbor, and me. Burton had reference in this epic tale to how Sir Launfal, in the early part of his mission, is the living symbol of the materialist who is so absorbed in his own prosperity, he finds no time for the spiritual quest. True, he may dole out an occasional coin to some charity, and involved in business affairs, he may lead a life of dull monotony, indulging in few vices. But neither does he express true giving nor true sharing in any of his endeavors, nor does he seek to understand the purpose of his coming and where he may be going. Who determines what our internal inheritance shall be? Such a materialist, Burton explains, will discover in the heaven world that gifts to the charities, to the religious organizations, avails you very little unless you gave something of yourself with your gift. You will inherit some blessing, true, but only by giving yourself with your alms is there true soul growth. There is in the heart of every human an instinct which is divinely inspired. Everything in life on earth is adapted to this innate knowing, just as the wild geese wing their way from the northland to seek instinctively the southland during times of the winter wind, so does a person's soul instinctively wend its way heavenward. Heaven is God's answer to all the human wails and moans and cries of earth. It is not enough to say that heaven is only a state or a condition. Heaven is indeed a real place. It is beyond dispute that we can attain a state of consciousness akin to heaven while on earth. Yet that does not deny that heaven is a veritable place beyond the tomb where the good dwell. Heaven is composed of many cities, as are all the plains on the unseen, a plain with many mansions, and one of them belongs to you. It may be in the city of astral Astara, which is certainly heavenly, or it may be in the Summerland Astara, which is on a higher celestial plane. Either of them can be called a heavenly place. There is hardly a city on earth lacking the homes of the millionaires, their spacious green grounds, sunken gardens, breathtaking mansions. Surrounding them are often snow-crowned mountains, blue skies, fleecy clouds, sunsets of burnished gold, rolling hills and verdant valleys, winding rivers and green forests. The reward for the unbearable tasks. There are the brooks, the lakes, the oceans, There is the mystic beauty of the pale moonlight reflecting on the waves of still waters. There are the incomparable stars lighting the canopy of the sky. There are the vast sweeps of magnificent flowers, the plunge of roaring waterfalls, the glories of a summer sunrise. Yet all these beauties of nature only whisper of the radiance that awaits you. Out of mercy, our Mother, Father God, has never revealed the true beauty of our afterlife, lest the tasks of earth become unbearable. Into the city of astral Astara there does not enter anything that is impure or unholy, and there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth. It is difficult to grasp with your limited earth consciousness. On earth, you are surrounded every minute of the day by the taint of error, sorrow, inequities, grief, torment, wars, violence, moral and mental distress. Who is the creator of human misery? Yet people are the causative factor of it all, and that which each person causes, that person, that must each person deal with until he or she learns how to build a better world. When it is said that there is no night there, it only indicates that there is no night as you know it. Night on earth is a time of darkness, and darkness can symbolize fear, loneliness, sadness. Beasts of prey stalk at night. Dens of iniquity come to life to attract struggling souls. Night can be a time of gloom and dismal fears. In this sense, surely there is no night here, but there is a time of relaxation for the soul who wants and needs it. You can close yourself away from endless day and enter a soothing twilight in which you rest, relax, meditate, and renew your spirit. What is meant when it is said, "There shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, for the former things are passed away"? Revelations. Sorrow is the keynote of almost every human life. You carry and share burdens. Lessons are placed upon you through which you learn to be kind and patient. In the land of the shadows, you face your trials and tribulations. Often, these follow us into the astral, but once we enter the regions of heaven, all sorrow is behind us. Nor is there any need for further crying, nor will there be any more death and parting from loved ones. These former things will indeed have passed away. The bloom and beauty and strength of youth are found again. There is a rediscovery of the incomparable majesty of the divine plains, and such a truth is eternal. Here we find again our lost Garden of Eden. Indeed, of all the places in humankind's long adventure, heaven is the one place where we find eternality. How is it that humans have been so long learning of heaven, but a few centuries back we believed our small world to be flat? Visionaries explored beyond the horizon and brought back the truth of undiscovered lands and untold new resources of the earth. How is it that humankind has been here for thousands, perhaps millions of years, yet we know so little of the heaven that awaits? The truth is that heaven does not await humankind's discovery. People discover heaven only through divine revelation. Heaven does not descend upon humankind en masse. It reaches only one individual at a time, drawing back the curtains of ignorance to reveal the wonder world. And it is this world that will still remain unchanged long after our little planet has burned itself out, has passed away, and time as we know it is no more. But of what happiness is it to learn of heaven unless the possibility of entrance is held open to every soul? What a bitter drought it would be to learn of heaven if you believed that your mistakes would forever cast you out. It must be that everyone will learn that heaven awaits each person in their own good time. Through faith and patience, inherit the promises. Hebrews. Paul said, "Our citizenship is in heaven, and whosoever will make come." Above the sobs and moans and cries of broken humanity, ever in the background, humankind innately remembers that ultimately every person will reach that shining, shimmering land beyond the shadows of earth. nor are the boundaries of heaven restricted. Every race, every nationality, the high, the low, the rich, the poor, all will ultimately gain heaven. But heaven is not reached by a single bound. Indeed, we each gain the rungs by which we rise, and we are admitted into those shining portals only as we become worthy to be citizens. Children of light find it hard to reconcile that since people are so innately aware of an ultimate heaven, few there be that find it. When we think of the supernal beauties of this waiting land, our sorrow is that people so delay their journey to it. People have become wanderers on earth, constantly searching for a city which hath foundations, whose maker and builder is God. People constantly seek to find deep and constant peace and joy on earth. Such constant peace can only be found in heaven. No sooner do you meet and conquer a problem than you are usually beset by another, for that is the way of life on earth, and that is the purpose for which you came. You came to try your skill in manipulating matter toward your own soul evolution. Error, atonement, and forgiveness. Question. Burton, there is a point about which I need enlightenment. I realize we have departed the subject of hell, but I cannot help feeling that some people are afraid that they have already committed acts which will make them unworthy. What can now be done to seek forgiveness or to make up for one's mistakes while still here on earth? Burton answered, every religion and spiritual tradition teaches about the possibility for and the power of forgiveness in one's spiritual evolution. Jesus seemed to speak about this in the parable of the prodigal son, as other avatars have done as well. The Christ encourages not to dwell upon what we have already done and the measure of our fall and punishment. Rather, we should lay firm hold on the knowledge that we have finally seen the light and desire now to atone and make amends. Jesus first speaks of the rejoicing in heaven when one lost sheep is returned to the fold. There is joy before the angels of God over one sinner who repents. Then he tells of the prodigal who took his share of the family fortune and went forth into a far country and forthwith squandered it. When, in a wretched state of remorse, he came to himself, saying, I will arise and go to my father, and I shall confess how I have sinned and how unworthy I am, and I shall beg to be treated simply as a hired servant and not as a true son. But when the father saw him returning, he dismissed all his confessions and ordered that he be given the best of everything, since the loss had now, on of his own volition, returned home and asked forgiveness, ready to pay his debt for his mistakes. When the brother, who had always served the father well, complained, the father explained, my son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. There is one teaching concerning forgiveness and atonement. So what is there to fear? Those who have never made a mistake, and they are few indeed, have no cause for concern. For them, heaven is already endowed. Those of us who have and have now turned to the infinite being to ask forgiveness, we are welcomed back into the heavenly fold, but only if we truly understand the nature of our mistakes, seek forgiveness from ourselves, and any we have wronged, and from the divine being, and are ready to do whatever it takes to erase any negative karma we have created in the process. We cannot come in arrogance, always blaming someone else. Therefore, do not worry or fear. You yourself have the ability to erase past negative karma and to work hard to avoid creating any more, instead working to serve your own spiritual growth and to improve the lot of others. And the infinite being is always ready to remind you that you are never outside of the divine family. Instead, you are always a part of that unity of spirit and of purpose. Making mistakes. Which is better, fear of God or love of God? We inquired. If all humanity is to be taught that hell is not eternal, and that all souls are ultimately to find their way into the higher realms, where then is the restraining power against making mistakes and harming oneself and others? Burton answered, most people now are taught to seek God through fear and not love. They are restrained from sin through fear of the eternal torments of hell. But is this the better way? If people understood that the cosmic law of the divine source allows us to reap what we sow, then we begin to respect that law and that love. People will become aware that it is God's own law of love which purifies, not Satan's law which punishes. As humankind becomes increasingly aware of the depth, the intensity, the power of divine love, so does there equally grow a longing to know that love, to share and become a part of it. Burton warns that if we would inhabit heaven immediately upon departing earth, we must hold purity of thought, word, and deed in our consciousness. We must express a universal philanthropy and loving kindness. We must open our hearts. These virtues produce the true incandescence of the soul, which powerfully affects the outer form, transfiguring the countenance and illuminating the body. Burton explains that life is a pilgrimage, whether on earth or over there. While on earth, we should never weary of helping others along the tiresome journey, for soon each of us shall put off our sandals and lay our burdens down by death's peaceful river. And when the moment comes, as come it must, only then will we realize the powerful and beneficial effects of our efforts for ourselves as well as for others. But do good, and your reward shall be great. Luke.
That is lesson 10. That is powerful. That was nice. All right. Well, before always, we have to go because now we have a new month, right? April. So if you're open and receptive, we will share the blessings of the April blessing. You guys ready? Go ahead and just be in a receptive pose. Have your hands up. The April blessing to all on this call, to all those that we have invoked to. Please shower all on this call and all that view this. As you proceed with your busy day, may it become one in which a goal is realized, a worthy deed is done, and a joy is found. May your light and God's shine upon and within all things so that a new and better world is made. The affirming meditation in this moment of quietness, we seek association with the unlimited resources of the infinite, eternal springs of refreshment to which we may carry our personal cup of need and have it filled to overflowing. We'll end on Earlyne's prayer for guidance. Master beloved, who hast committed to us the swift and solemn trust of life, since we know not what a day may bring, but only that the hour for serving thee is always present, teach us how to be constantly alert to the claims of thy will and the call to service. Lay to rest by the persuasion of thy Spirit our doubts and fears. Consecrate with thy presence the way our feet should go, that our humblest work may radiate. Lift us above unrighteous anger and mistrust into faith sublime. May we be modest in our times of wealth, patient in the hours of our adversity, serene in our disappointments, and humble in our moments of shining achievements. In all things, draw us toward thy perfection, that all the world may see in us thy radiant reflection, and keep us ever mindful that we shine for thee. This physical eyes. Namaste, namaste, precious, precious souls. I'll leave you with that bliss. Enjoy the rest of your morning, your day, your afternoon, wherever you are. Enjoy, and we'll see you tomorrow for blessing and prayer petitions. Thank you again so much for sharing your light. Namaste.